Welcome to the Busy Bee Chronicles. I'm Chelsea. In this video, I'm going to break down all the information you need to know for the upcoming RunDisney Halloween Half Marathon Weekend happening September 4th through the 7th, 2025 in Anaheim, California. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that this will be my third RunDisney event, which I'm very excited for, but I find that even if you've already participated in a RunDisney event, it's important to check out all the information each time, just in case there are any changes and to keep the policies and procedures fresh in your mind. And of course, even information put out for the current event can be subject to change. So you should check your emails and follow RunDisney on social media so you don't miss any updates that they might send out to participants. Once you've registered, and as it gets closer to the event, RunDisney will send an email with some important information, like guidelines, safety information, and a schedule. You'll also be prompted to sign your digital waiver before arriving. To complete your digital waiver, log into your RunDisney account. You'll need to navigate to the event that you're signing the waiver for, and if you don't see a notification there, you will see an Edit Registration button. It will then take you to a page where you can see your documents, whether they need to be signed still or not. Also, if you have anyone under 18 participating, a parent or legal guardian will need to sign the waiver for the minor. The next thing you'll need is your Expo check-in pass, which you will also be able to find in your RunDisney account. The RunDisney website states that passes should become available on September 1st, 2025. You'll need this pass along with a valid photo ID to pick up your race bib, gear bag, and participant shirt from the Health and Fitness Expo. The Expo will be held at the Disneyland Hotel, open on Thursday, September 4th, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Friday, September 5th, 12 noon to 8 p.m., and Saturday, September 6th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you're a member of Club RunDisney, you'll also get some early entry times, as seen on this schedule. Now, when you arrive, you'll first need to go to the upper level of the convention center, in the Magic Kingdom Ballroom, to pick up your race bib. During your race, you'll need to wear this unobstructed on the front of your torso the entire time. It shows your eligibility to be in the park, and you will be removed from the course if you don't have it on at any point during the race. It should be pinned in all four corners and not be modified or altered in any way. I recommend bringing plenty of your own safety pins, so you don't need to worry about finding the size that you like or if they're going to provide them for you. There's also some pretty cool snaps and magnetic pins that some of the vendors sell at the expo, but I would double check with RunDisney if their bib type will be affected by the magnetic ones before relying on them. It should be fine for the 5K, but it may affect the 10K and the half marathon bibs, just depending on what technology they use for the time. The letter on your bib will determine your start group assignment, so you know what corral you'll be lining up in for your race. Because basically the race starts in waves of groups. Everyone doesn't start at the same time, but instead goes in different groups that they release by corral to space everybody out. So for example, Group A will go, and then Group B will move up to the starting line, and then they'll give them the go-ahead, and Group B will go, and so on until they get through all the different corrals. Now, don't worry that this will affect your race time, because your personal clock starts when you pass the starting line and it finishes when you cross the finish line. Now, start groups are assigned for the half marathon based on your proof of time or estimated finishing time that you have provided to RunDisney. The 5K and the 10K start groups are based on your anticipated pace per mile, but they don't require you to submit any proof of time. So after you pick up your bib in the upper level, you're going to go back down to the lower level to pick up your participant shirt. If for some reason you would like a different size than you requested, there is a shirt exchange table where you can trade out your shirt for a different size if it's available. The lower level is also where all the exhibitors and the merchandise shop is. So you can find a list of most of the sponsors in the Digital Expo guide, but you'll also notice that there's a spot for a virtual queue return. So that brings me to the virtual queue. If you're familiar with Disney's virtual queues for attractions in the park, or maybe you've been to D23 Expo, it works pretty much the same. You'll need to download the Disneyland app and utilize the virtual queue section of this app. Now, RunDisney did mention that you will be able to hold a virtual queue for an attraction at the same time as a virtual queue for the expo. But I will say, depending on how that process is selected and the way that it's set up in the morning, make sure that you choose the one that is the highest priority to you. Generally, virtual queues are full within seconds of the go time. So here are some important points about the virtual queue. Be ready at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, RunDisney did make a post that mentioned Eastern Standard Time, but it's typically Pacific Standard Time. So because we're using the Disneyland app, I'm going to assume that it is 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The sooner that you enter the queue, the better are your odds at getting a return time. And while they do have a 2 p.m. queue, you can only join once per day. So if you do get that early morning queue, you've got better odds of having a return time earlier in the day. Now, don't forget to select the number of guests coming with you. And I would be safe and count yourself into that number. You can have up to 4 people total in your party. RunDisney's information also states that if you are a platinum or a gold member of the Club RunDisney, you don't need to join the virtual queue to access your early shopping hours. Now, you'll be able to access the queue from about 90 miles away from Disney property. So if you're coming from far, or maybe your hotel's at a pretty good distance, maybe you're traveling on that day that the queue opens up, just make sure that you plan it so that you're within the radius that you're going to be able to join that virtual queue, if that's something that you're looking for. And make sure that you are on site when you have about 60 minutes of wait time remaining on your virtual queue. You don't want to miss your return time. Every member of your party must be there when scanning in upon your return time, because you will only get one QR code for your entire party. And last but not least, there is one new virtual queue this year, and that is for the Brooks Footwear Village, a specific shop for Brooks running shoes. They will have exclusive RunDisney designs, but also have a shoe trial area so that you can try on generic versions of the shoes before you get up there to buy the RunDisney ones. I'm personally very excited for this because I wear Brooks. I currently like the Ghost. I really want to try the Ghost Max. I think they look cushy and comfortable. So I'm excited for this one. I'm hoping I'll get in there to try some of the new Brooks shoes and maybe get a RunDisney design, because it is my shoe of choice. Now, you may think, why do we need a virtual queue to purchase merchandise? And that's because it does sell out, and it helps control the crowds when everybody is trying to purchase the same things. So if you've ever done it before, the virtual queue gets you into the RunDisney merchandise shop, where the specific merchandise like pins, clothing, bags, hats, the ears, Loungefly, all the themed event items, that's where those are for sale by Disney. You don't need a virtual queue to walk through the expo and shop at all of the other vendor booths. Okay, so let's get into the events. Here's a quick look at the weekend schedule. RunDisney Yoga is on Thursday, September 4th. The Disneyland Halloween 5K is on Friday, September 5th. The Disneyland Halloween 10K and the RunDisney Kids races are on Saturday, September 6th. And the Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon is on Sunday, September 7th. The Chills and Thrills Challenge is shown on September 6th and 7th because that challenge is when you are participating in both the 10K and the half marathon, if that's what you registered for. And before we get into the details of each event, and of course some other tips and info about your race day, I want to say thanks for watching so far. And if it's been helpful, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel. Busy Bee Chronicles is all about sharing my experiences and bringing a little positivity to someone else's day. So when you share my videos and subscribe, it really does help me grow so that others like you can find my videos too. Okay, so let's break down each event. Yoga in the Park is scheduled for Thursday, September 4th, 2025. The Mickey and Friends parking structure will open at 3 a.m. And don't forget the standard parking rates still apply for this event. Security checkpoints will open at 3:30 a.m. And participants can check in the main entrance plaza at ticket booth number 5 between 3:45 to 4:45 a.m. Now, since there's no expo the day before, yoga participants are checking in the morning of the event. So don't forget that you will need to have your yoga check-in pass and that valid photo ID when checking in at ticket booth number 5. And as always, location is subject to change. So make sure that you watch for any email updates just in case that ticket booth number 5 changes and it's at a different location. Something really cool about the yoga is that RunDisney will provide participants with a yoga mat and a carrying strap, and you get to keep those. You'll also get a bottle of water. Spots are first come, first serve in what they consider the activity area. So if being closer to the front is important to you, I recommend being up early and ready to go right at the times that you're able to enter the event. And the actual yoga event begins at 5 a.m. and ends at 6 a.m. Now, this is also a good time to remind you that no matter what event you're registered for, a theme park ticket is not included in your RunDisney registration. I've gotten this question a lot, and people that have asked me about RunDisney and just talked about it, and they're not always sure. They think that a theme park ticket is included, and it isn't. Your registration only permits you entry into the designated event areas during the time of your event. So you don't need to purchase a park ticket to participate. So if you don't want to buy a park ticket, you can still register and do RunDisney, but you won't be able to re-enter the parks after your event unless you have a valid park ticket or Magic Key Pass, as well as a park reservation. Okay, moving on to the 5K event. And this is the race that I'm personally participating in, so I'm very excited. They made the theme of this one Ursula because each of the events you can see is themed to basically a different Disney villain. So that was kind of fun for Halloween. And I had a costume prepared last year, but it was just too hot to wear it, unfortunately. But this year I am prepared, and I made it Little Mermaid themed to go with my race because I figured Ursula, at least do something Little Mermaid themed. So stay tuned for my videos from the event so that you can see my costume and what character I decided to sort of Disney bound or Disney runner bound, I don't know what you call it. It's not super elaborate, but I really love it. It was a fun one to put together, and it's bright, and I'm really excited for it, so I can't wait. And if you know what you're dressing up as, please let me know down below, because I love seeing everybody's different ways of putting together costumes, and we're going to get to costume guidelines a little later, so don't forget, we will talk about that. So the Disneyland Halloween 5K is on Friday, September 5th, 2025. At 3 a.m., the Mickey and Friends parking structure will open, standard parking rates apply, and at 3:30, security screening opens. At 4 a.m., the staging area and the corrals will open, and at 5 a.m., the race starts. 5:15, the start line closes, meaning that if you're late to lining up in your corral, you may forfeit your participation and won't be allowed to start the race. The 5K course is 3.1 miles long, and it starts in Disneyland, then crosses over and ends in Disney California Adventure Park. Participants will see character sightings throughout the race and receive post-race refreshments, as well as a finisher's medal. The 5K gear bag check will be in the Esplanade between Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure. So basically anything that you want to store during the race that you don't want to carry with you, but you still want to have after the race, it should be placed in that clear bag that you got at check-in at the expo and turned in at this location. Now, it's very important, do not use the lockers. I made this mistake at the last event, and I don't know if RunDisney mentioned it last year, but they did put it in this year, so I was excited to see that. But I had got a locker because I planned on going into the park after the race, and I wanted to have some things with me, maybe a change of clothes even. But what I did not realize is that they reset the lockers each morning. So when I came back after my race, I couldn't get into my locker. It was locked and it wouldn't take my code, and they were in the process of getting ready to clean them out. So the cast members were very kind, and they verified my stuff inside by checking, that I knew what was in it and all that kind of thing, and they let me get my stuff. But yes, don't use the lockers before your race because you will lose your locker. You'll need to purchase a new locker later on in the day if you still wanted one, and your stuff might end up taken to lost and found. So it just makes it complicated. You should not use the lockers in the morning, and RunDisney even specified that this year. Next, we have the 10K event, and this race is themed to Cruella de Vil, and it's on Saturday, September 6th, 2025. So at 3 a.m., the Toy Story parking lot opens, standard parking rates still apply, and at 3:30, security screening and the family reunion and corrals open. So at 5 a.m., the race starts, and at 5:30, the start line closes. The 10K course is 6.2 miles long, and it starts on Disney Way. So basically they utilize the streets and other open spaces along Disney Way to set up the family reunion area and the corrals. The race starts here, but eventually it does go through both Disneyland Park and Disney California Adventure Park. So participants will see character sightings throughout the race and receive post-race refreshments as well as their finisher's medal. The 10K gear bag check will be located in the family reunion area. Also, there will be some food truck offerings, it said this year, with food and beverages available for purchase. On September 6th, there are also the kids races, and yes, kids get some special events just for them. Now, there are a lot of guidelines. If you do have your little ones registered for the event, you're going to want to read through all of that very thoroughly because there's a lot of information in there. The Kids Activity Zone will open for registered kids and their families at 8 a.m. If a parent wishes to run with their child, you are allowed to do that, but only the registered participant will receive a finisher medallion. Also, if you're not running with your child, there is a whole section on the parent claim process to keep the whole event safe and organized. So again, if you're a parent and you've registered your child for these races, it's going to be really important. Go read all that information, make sure that you understand when you are supposed to pick up, drop off, and what the whole procedure is, because they're really doing it for all of the kids' safety and security. And these races will take place in the same location that the 10K and the half marathon start and finish, as you can see here on the map. Now, last but not least, we have the Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon, represented by Maleficent. This race is 13.1 miles long, and it will be on Sunday, September 7th, 2025, and it also starts on Disney Way. At 3 a.m., the Toy Story parking lot will open. Standard parking rates still apply, and at 3:30, the security screening, the family reunion area, and the corrals will open. At 5 a.m., the race starts, and at 5:45, the start line closes. Much like the 10K race and the kids races, it says that there will be food truck offerings in the family reunion area, post refreshments, and of course a finisher's medal. Now, this race utilizes a much larger area around the Disneyland Resort. So while you'll still go through both Disneyland and DCA, you will spend quite a bit of your race off property, as you can see here on the map. It's also important to note the road closures on this day. So if you're not in the race and you're needing to drive around, or maybe you're having to use these streets to get there, they posted this road closure map, so it would be very helpful not only to see what streets are closed, but what times each of these closures will happen by closing and opening the streets again. Now, there's also the Coast to Coast event, which is an additional race challenge where you have to do a race on the East Coast and on the West Coast. And then the Chills and Thrills challenge is basically the challenge of doing both the 10K and the half marathon in the same weekend. So those aren't additional races, they're additional challenges. Now let's talk PhotoPass, because something very cool is that all of your course photos are included in the cost of your registration. So as you're running your race, they have photographers stationed in different places along the course where they're taking pictures of everyone. There are quite a few photographers, and you can usually spot them because they sit in little green tents, and it's usually a little more well lit than other areas. Now, often you'll see people crossing and trying to get right in front of the photographers. You should know that they do a really good job at taking pictures across the whole road or area that you're running in. So you will get some photos. You don't have to be right in front of them. And I found that they're taking pictures of you a lot sooner than when you actually see them. So they have great cameras. They're getting all of those shots. Be cautious when you're running still and run safely. Don't run all the way across just to get a picture. Make sure that you're keeping everybody around you in mind as you're still doing your race. Now, to download your pictures, you'll be able to log in on the Disneyland app, or you can do it on the web at disneyphotopass.com. Use your 16-digit PhotoPass ID that you'll find on your check-in pass, and then your pictures will appear. It does say that pictures could take up to 48 hours to appear, so be patient and check back after that time to see if any photos that you missed might have popped up. Another fun part of participating in a RunDisney event is that you can wear costumes. So if you want to dress to match the theme of the race, or maybe just wear your Halloween best, you're allowed to do so. But there are quite a few costume guidelines. So let's go over some of the most important ones here. 1. Costume masks are never permitted for anyone 14 years or older, and if you're 13 and younger, your whole face still can't be covered, your eyes have to be visible. Number 2. As we should expect, it is a Disney event, so keep costumes family friendly. Nothing offensive, objectionable, or violent. So basically, if you question that it could fall into that category of any sort, probably not a good idea. Number 3, safety first. There are a lot of very specific guidelines that have to do with safety, so make sure that you're adhering to those. Basically, your costume shouldn't pose a hazard to yourself or to anybody around you. They shouldn't drag on the ground, get in anyone's way, or have any hard or sharp objects or pieces that might accidentally harm somebody else. And you also can't have anything that resembles or could be used as a weapon. Limit your layers unless they are following the contour of your body. Remember, everyone is walking or jogging around you, going different speeds, moving in and out of each other. It can be loud with varying levels of light, so keep that in mind when choosing what to wear. Number 4, if you're dressing to resemble a Disney character, you cannot pose for photos or sign autographs with other guests. So if you want to dress like your favorite Disney character, go for it, you absolutely can. They just don't want you trying to imitate an official character of the parks or be misleading that you're an on-duty cast member. Number 5, this one's sort of my personal advice. Think about the weather. It's Southern California, and if you're not from here, you might not be familiar, but our weather can be really cold in the morning and then really hot by noon. So you never really know what you're going to get. So if you're planning a costume, maybe have something prepared for options, whether it's really hot or it's cold. And you also don't have to wear a costume. Plenty of people just wear their usual running gear, or maybe keep it simple with color schemes that feel a little bit more Disney. But definitely check the weather, be familiar with what it might feel like by the time that you get there, because it can really change here. And number 6, very important of course, if you don't adhere to any of the guidelines, you may be refused entry or removed from the event entirely. Now that leads me to the safety information. It may seem like safety information is obvious and it can be overlooked, but it really is important to know before you go so that there's no surprises during your RunDisney weekend. On the back of your bib, there is a place to put information for an emergency contact. There's a medical personnel that are available for emergency care throughout each of the races, and also support vans that can pick up runners who can't finish the race or need assistance. There are also several prohibited items which are typical for theme parks, but here are some specific things to remember for your race. No weapons or items that resemble weapons are allowed, but for props like plastic swords or lightsabers, they can't be any longer than 36 inches in length. There are also specific measurement requirements if using flags, poles, and flag harnesses. There are no selfie sticks, no baby joggers, strollers, carriers, or backpacks allowed. No form of wheels like skates, bicycles, or scooters. Now there are of course exceptions for participants who are using equipment related to accessibility, and there is an entire section on that on the website that you should check out if that is something that you maybe need or it might pertain to you. You'll find it under race policies. Scroll down to the bottom section and it's titled Athletes with Disabilities. Headphones are strongly discouraged since there are announcements made throughout your race. Sometimes there's points where cast members or audio recordings give you notice of obstructions in the road. Maybe it tells you there's a sharp turn ahead or narrowing areas. So just be sure that you can completely hear around you and be aware of any obstacles that might be ahead. Well, that pretty much sums up all the major information you need to know for the Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon weekend. I'd love to hear from you if you're going to be there and what event that you're doing. Hopefully this helped you with some of the important details about the event, and don't forget, it will also be Halloween time at the Disneyland Resort. So stay tuned for my videos from the event and my exploration of the parks during Halloween time. I appreciate you watching, and until next time, thanks for buzzing by.